Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I'm Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The NFL Combine was this past weekend, and we had some standouts. My boy, Anthony Richardson, who I have made my boy. I feel like I do this every draft. I did it with Mac Jones for a little different reasons, obviously. But Anthony Richardson, most polarizing player in the draft, but he just keeps rising up draft boards. I mean, it seems like he's almost a shoo-in to go in the top 10. Some are even talking number one overall. I know there's a lot of negatives, but the positives, the guy runs a 4.3 at 250 pounds. And we saw that live. I mean, remember that run against LSU when he played LSU was one of the best runs I've ever seen from anybody at any point. The athleticism is off the charts. I mean, he was the most athletic quarterback we probably have ever seen. He is as big as Cam Newton. That isn't a lie. I almost was like, no way he's as big as Cam Newton when he was coming in, but he is. And I kind of got a soft spot for him because I could see the upside there. And listen, the arm strength is there too. And when you combine that with athleticism, after that, it's to me, it's all about coaching and what's in between the ears. And he apparently interviewed really well, which might be the most important part of this process for him. And if you think Arthur Smith is a quarterback guru and he can accentuate talents, how are you not kind of thinking Anthony Richardson might be really good in Atlanta? I mean, obviously there's some red flags, but the potential there is off the charts.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons fans arguing against Anthony Richardson, let's be honest. Most of them are Georgia fans, so they hate Florida. And they saw Anthony Richardson in Florida, at Florida, and we can be honest, he was not very good there.
Yeah, but how many?
The whole team was bad.
Exactly. How many quarterbacks would be in that situation?
The whole team was bad. I believe that program is going downhill fast. I don't think anybody could have succeeded there. And you just said it. The tangibles are off the charts. He seems quicker than Cam Newton. He faster than Cam Newton. He's got a bigger arm than Cam Newton. And, all the refining things everybody's going to have to do. This isn't Trevor Lawrence. This isn't Andrew Luck. Or Bryce Young. I put Bryce Young in that category. Every quarterback coming out is going to need refining. So if you think that you can take them and mold them like a piece of clay and turn them into a superstar, there's absolutely no reason that you shouldn't take them. Now, if Arthur Smith thinks that he can do that, so be it. I'll never argue against it until it doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out, then we can all criticize. But until that happens, I mean, people are just going off of a shitty Florida program and thinking like, oh, this guy's a bust. Josh Allen was throwing 55% at Wyoming, folks. And he's a consensus top 3 quarterback.
Dude, and Anthony Richardson, he played like 12 games at Florida. You're talking about a sample size that is this big. You put him in Alabama and make him a 2-year starter, I would love to see what kind of numbers he put in that second year. They would be off the charts. He would be unbelievable. I mean, he was put in a terrible situation. And I'm not saying that's a guarantee that he's going to be able to be molded into this piece of clay that's all of a sudden a superstar like you just said. But I'm also not saying that it couldn't happen. And I think the excitement there, we just talked about Lamar Jackson. AR-15 brings that same level of excitement to a football team. And you're going to be sitting there watching and wondering and excited every Sunday to get up. And I just think a lot of people they look at the completion percentage. They look at a couple bad plays in college. They look at how Florida went 6-6 and he underachieved and all this stuff. And they're like, no way he can be good. And they particularly look at that game against Georgia where he wasn't that good. And it's just like, dude, not that many people played great against Georgia. Newsflash.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people laughed at the Bills for drafting Josh Allen. Now they're perennial Super Bowl contenders. They will compete for Super Bowls throughout Josh Allen's career, and that is who AR-15 can be. Now, there's a long road to that point, and frankly, the Falcons aren't close to winning a Super Bowl. So I don't know what Falcons fans are like, no, we got to build. We're not winning anything anytime soon. So particularly the Falcons. But if you want to go to any other team, I think the Seahawks, if we just want to, go on a tangent, I think the Seahawks are a perfect landing spot. They just signed Geno Smith. Let him sit for 2 years. And that third year, if he's ready, by Geno, If he's not ready, let him sit another year. You still got him for 2 more years. Hey, I think and Pete Carroll, man, that guy can really get the most out of his players. Yeah. I love AR-15 in Seattle.
Yeah, I like him in Detroit too. Similar situation with Jared Goff. The other big storyline of the combine was Jalen Carter, who got arrested for misdemeanor reckless driving. It turns out he was a part of the situation that got his teammate killed, and I think that's the biggest story here. I don't want to talk too much about it until we know. But just strictly speaking, draft process, a lot of people have him falling to potentially being available for the Falcons. And if nothing more comes about this situation where he wasn't anything more involved than just a driver that made a bad decision, I think the Falcons would be one of the dumbest organizations, given their needs on the defensive line, to pass up on Jalen Carter if he landed in their laps at number 8.
Anybody would be, even if they don't have a defensive lineman need. I think he will not even fall out of the top 5 because of how early in the draft process it happened. Now, listen, if this came out 1 week before the draft, we could really see something, where he falls out of the top 10, La'el Collins, Laramie Tunsil, that sort of thing. And we know both of those situations weren't big deals at all. And I think something similar like this plays out. I don't mean to downplay the situation, it's still a tragic incident and everybody's still grieving. So everybody talking about this should, with a grain of salt, we're just talking about the draft process. And with that being said, there's no way he falls out of the top 5 because I think all of this, he's going to be exonerated. And at worst, he was street racing. And I think he's certainly going to learn his lesson. I mean, one of his teammates, friends, and staff members passed away right there. So he certainly has had to learn his lesson at this point. And if it was just the reckless driving and racing, as an NFL franchise, they've stuck their neck out for a lot more. Deshaun Watson, are we talking? I mean, come on.
Yeah, so I agree. The NFL isn't necessarily the moral police. They care about winning. And if it was just the reckless driving and stuff like that, I think this does all blow over. By all accounts, Jalen Carter has been a great teammate, has been a great friend, has been a great person. And at 22 years old, 21, 22, whatever he is, made a really bad decision, really poor decision. But to sit here and judge people based off one decision that you made when you're 21 years old, I think is stupid in any aspect of life. So obviously, I think he's a good person. I think he's going to learn a lot from this. Could be a good thing for him in the long run, but it's a situation to watch.